Hello, this is John, Vintage Fisherman. So, I'm on a Zebco kick. I just love these things, man. I never fished with them as a kid, but I picked this one up a couple weeks ago with the 808 I just did. This is an 888. It's made, look, says Zebco, made in the USA. That's what I love about it. Got just a slight little crack in the outer cover. It doesn't surprise me. These reels take a pretty good licking out there in the field. You just basically slide this thing apart like that. They're pretty simple. If you're going to start out working, if you want a really simple reel to start out with, this would be a good one. Or these Zebcos would be good ones. So there's the rotor. And I don't know if that was supposed to have rubber on it. I believe it is. Seems like that would cut the line. But yeah, I might have to order one of those if I can find one. It looks like it's lost that rubber. So you Zebco guys can tell me out there, I'm sure. Let me try to get this. This is the snap ring that retains the spool. And let's lighten the drag up on it. Just pull that right on out. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that was supposed to have a rubber piece on it. I'll look it up. Anyway, while we got it out to this far, we can go ahead and take off this. And I don't know the nomenclature for a lot of these Zebco parts, folks. So you're just going to have to deal with whatever I call it, because they're, I'm not used to them yet, and so we're just going to call it whatever we want to call it. It may be right and it may not be. Take those off. Basically got to compress that spring and slide that over to the side. It just comes off there. Be careful not to release the pressure off that spring too quickly, or these little bitty parts will go flying. And then your piece that's in question comes off. I'll look that up later. The anti-reverse on this reel is just like the 808, but the drag is different. This one has a star drag. But if you see how when you turn this drag, it rotates this gear, which rotates this and puts pressure on these plastic discs in here, and that's where your whole drag is done, right there. I like it. It's simple, it's effective, and I like simple and effective. So I believe this has got a snap ring up under it. Does. Let's see if we can get it off without losing it. You gotta turn it around here where I can see it. If you release pressure while that thing's about halfway out, you can kiss it goodbye. If you're working over top of carpet, you'll never find it again. If you're over a concrete floor, you may get lucky. Go. Now, my other reel I did was my first one, and I didn't pay real close attention to a couple of things, so we're going to pay closer attention today. I had to go back and do it a couple of times, but now I know it shouldn't be too bad. There's a shim, and then this piece here comes in from the bottom, which is exactly how I built it on the other one. My hands are getting gummed up already. This shaft, spool shaft, can come out like that. Your gear can come out. These pieces, the anti-reverse dog and this piece can't come out, so we're going to leave them alone. Boy, somebody really put the squeeze on that spring. The drag. I may not be able to take that one out of there. That's okay. We'll leave it in there. Well, no, I'll take it back. I think I can. Let me see here. Yep, I got it. That rotates around. That will stay on there. So that spring comes off of here, and there's the drag lever, so to speak, that pulls this. This pulls it back and forth. All right, let's take off this handle nut right here. Ugh, boy. There it goes. Just the reel's just gunky, you know. Just the way it is. It's an old reel. Oh, that lifts off of there. Actually, that comes out. There is a shim on the bottom of that. There's actually a shim pack. And I guarantee you, those shims are the same size as that one. So we're going to fix that. Here's what I do when that happens. I'm going to put that whole shim pack into a pipe clean rod. And you could use a bread tie or whatever out of your kitchen drawer. Everybody's probably got 5,000 of them. I'll have to scrape that mess off in a minute. Let's see here. Yeah, I want to take this off and get the gunk out from it. So let's go ahead and give it a shot here. We'll see if I can get it. Oh yeah, look at that. It's a 9/16, or in this case, I think I put a 14 millimeter on it. Same difference. So that comes off. This has a spacer, a rubber seal, actually. It's like an O-ring. Huh, cool. And then that just pulls right out of there. And folks, that's as far as I can take that reel. I'll clean it up good. I could take this little snap ring off right here and take this rod out, but I think I'm going to leave well enough alone there. It's moving pretty good. By the time I get done cleaning it up, you won't even know. We try to find an old rag here. I don't want to use a rag I just got out, and I'll clean up some of that grease there. Yeah, I got one here I used up a little while ago. Gotten into several reels this week. Been a pretty good week so far. Been so busy working on my house, I've kind of strayed away from the reels a little bit in the last few weeks. I had some traveling, then worked on the house and that kind of thing. Yeah, so life gets in the way sometimes. Look at the crud. Dried up grease. Every vintage reel's enemy, grease choking. Just slows a good reel down. Not hard to repair. Just some good cleaning. You can do it a lot of different ways. I use ultrasonic for most of it. I got a wash tank full of WD-40, 3 gallons of WD-40. I use a parts washing tank to clean up some of it. The ultrasonic does pretty well if you can get the big chunks off. It's water-based cleaner. It's Simple Green and Dawn dishwashing detergent. Dishwashing liquid is what I use in there. Cleans metals really well without messing them up. Okay, so there it is. I'll throw this nasty thing away, and I'm going to go look up this part here. It doesn't look like it's got any residue of rubber on it, but you know, the mechanic in me says it probably should have a rubber ring on there. If it needs one, I'll buy one. This reel to me is worth fixing. It's a very nice reel. Just a couple little minor issues. All right, I'll be back when it gets cleaned up. Hey, I'm back. I was taking this reel apart, this Zebco 888, and well, my first video got messed up because the audio got messed up, so I'm doing it again. But the rubber gasket that's on the line brake was missing, and I tried to find one online. I found the part number for it and couldn't find one online. A couple people offered to send me one, but I hadn't heard back from them, and I thought, well, I've got O-rings. Now, I know this is supposed to be a square gasket, so you Zebco guys, I know. But my theory is the round gasket will work the same and let the line slide through it a little bit better. So I went out to the garage. I'm a former field service tech, and I went through my O-ring stash. I have boxes and boxes of O-rings, and I've got this gauge here that you can check O-ring sizes with. And so how this gauge works is you find the cross section of the O-ring. This one's going to be a 3.53 millimeter or 0.139 length of an inch. And then you lay it on this, you pull it out, you pull it taut, but you don't want it to stretch. So this is like if you do a split, it's a 220. This is a number that you can go to your local hydraulic shop or whatever and give them this number, this O-ring, and they'll hand it to you. It's going to be a 268. If you go with a split, it might be a 229. But just tell me you need a 268 O-ring. And that's going by the AS 568 standard, industry standard on O-rings. This is something I carried in my field service truck. If I didn't have the O-ring in stock on my truck and I could get the old one off in one piece, I could measure and I could call up the local hydraulic shop and say, do you have this O-ring in stock? And then then it was worth my time to make the run to the next hydraulic shop, pick it up. Yeah. In your crane truck, you can only carry so much stuff. And so I had to have the tools on board to help me out in every way I can. So what I did was I cleaned up the surface of this old ring, and with a basically just a Q-tip and some denatured alcohol, clean it up good. That gives the glue every chance. I cleaned the O-ring up with denatured alcohol. Then I put a light bead of this Loctite extreme glue, I really like this stuff. It works really well. And then just set the O-ring on there and wiped off any excess. And in a couple hours, it'll be glued up solid, and it will not come off of there. You'll have to peel. The rubber will break apart to get it off of there. And it should work the same. And I had two of these O-rings in stock, crazy, but I had two. It should work the same as factory. It might be a little better. I know I'm not an engineer, and I don't like to re-engineer things. That's not my job. As a technician, I always tried to put it back together the way engineers intended it for, to be used, even though I didn't always agree with them. But that's how I worked. My job wasn't to re-engineer anything out in the field. If I had to make it go for the customer, I would. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of re-engineering to make it work. I'm the customer. I want it to go back together. I can't find this part. I've got the part number to it. I can't remember it right now. But none are available for any of the Zebco parts suppliers. There's one person on eBay that has like 10 of these for sale with a whole bunch of other parts. I don't want to spend $50 to get one little part. You know, the reel's not that rare. You know, if it's a $300 reel, I would pay $50 for one part. It's a $10 reel, maybe a $15 reel. So we gotta be real about the reels here, so to speak. So that's how I came up with how to fix this. You just go ask for that O-ring. It's a standard size O-ring. There's nothing fancy about that. Any hydraulic shop would have that. You're not gonna find this in a hardware store. I say a hydraulic shop, we're talking about a place that works on hydraulic cylinders, hydraulic pumps, hydraulic motors that they rebuild. They're going to have every freaking O-ring ever made. They buy them loose. They buy them like this. So they're going to have thousands of O-rings and probably a million O-rings if it's a really good shop. And they'll be able to find that O-ring for you and get you back in business. All right, I'll get this reel cleaned up and be back. And it's going to be a pretty reel when I get done with it. And it's going to be functional. That's the most important thing. Okay, I've got this Zebco 888 cleaned up. Let's put this thing back together. Came out really nice. Really, really nice. Real happy with it. Yeah. I think it's going to be just fine. Let's see how it goes. So this is the drag adjustment. It goes up in there, and because it doesn't spin real fast on this part of it, I'm going to try some grease up in that hole. And it'll come in from this side. It meshes with that. And then your drag sure I'm not forgetting something here. Yeah, it had this. I want to say it had that right there. Okay. A little bit more grease right here. And it got this big nut on there. Try to get back in frame a little bit for you. All right. And that's nice and free. We'll definitely give some oil on that shaft there. That's where your drag adjustment is. I think I can go ahead and put that back in actually. Let's see, this would hook in to that drag adjuster, and then it will come in. And all these have got to be lined up over here. Let's see, let's turn it tighter. Let's go back this way with it. And we got to spin all these little plastic plates around. Line the slots up in them. See how this has to go into each one of those. There's a wide slot, and then there's 3 or 4 smaller slots. It goes into the wide slot like that. And that can get just a drop or two of oil right there where it goes through the plate. Okay. Got that in place. All these pivot points in here, they all get a little bit of oil. I may have messed up, actually. Yep. This has got to come back out. Just temporarily. I apologize. That you can just leave that hanging. This has got to go in first. This is your gear, main gear. I see one little piece of grease I left in there. All right. This took a shim pack, which remember I kept it together with this pipe cleaner. That's what I use the little leftover pieces for. And you can put the shim pack back in there. You want to keep these shims together, folks. You don't want, and we'll use some pin oil on here. We'll put pin oil down in that shaft hole, and then pin oil on the shaft, and it'll go in there like that. Okay. We are to the point where we can put the handle back on it. A little bit of grease right here. I'm not, well, I guess I can tighten the handle up all the way. It's not going to hurt anything. Make sure you don't cross thread anything. Very easy to do on fishing reels. Ugh. Most of them are fine thread, and they can get cross threaded pretty easily. Going with a little bit of the Lucas oil in on the paddle post there. Just a little bit of play in there, but I went with the stock shim pack. So now we can work this thing back in there. I do believe. Be a little bit easier this time. I got everything kind of lined up. There. Perfect. So there's how your drag works is you spin this thing here. Well, not wanting to behave. Okay, here we go. I had it too tight. No, something's wrong. Something's definitely wrong. It fell out. Never a good thing. Lord have mercy. It's always something, isn't it? So that's got to pop down that slot, and I have somehow or another allowed it to fall out of there. I don't know how that happened. Wow. I think the only way to fix it is to take it back apart. We'll get it. We'll get it. There, it's going back in now. The thing is, it wants to, it kind of wants to get cattywampus until I'm afraid I'm going to strip it. Come on. I spun it out too far a minute ago. Yeah. Dang it, John. Why? Mm-mm-mm. It's the simple things that'll mess you up on a reel. We'll try to pop it back in place without breaking the reel. May break it. I don't know of another way to do this. There we go. There it is. Okay. I had it run out too far. That's too far. This is putting more drag on, so that should stop, have a positive stop right there. Something's bent. And it's allowing it to over travel. So we'll bend it back. Okay, here we go. All right, back on track. This shaft has to go through from this side. Definitely want some good oil on there. I'll use some Lucas or Penn, either one. Not a lot of difference between the two. Then your pinion gear can go on, and I'll grease all this up in just a minute. This got a little piece of grease on there. This will slide on. This goes on. This is your anti-reverse. It cuts the anti-reverse on and off. Okay. Then I got this washer or shim goes on there. And then you've got this piece that goes on. It's got to go. Oh gosh. Well, now I got a mess. The part, hang on, I'll be right back. Okay. The part went flying up in the air, hit the ceiling, came down, landed in my shirt. I went to open my shirt up underneath to get the part out. Part went flying down on the floor. So we have a total shit show going on here right now, folks. But we'll get it. All right, now if I can hang on to it this time, there's a snap ring goes in right here. There. Now you can see how you can go forward with it, but when you go to back, the friction pulls this lever back and locks the anti-reverse. Isn't that neat? And you can cut that off by flipping this lever, and it'll go either way. So you can backpedal a fish if you need to and not burn your drag up. All right. Now we've had all this fun. Let's give it some grease. Smoothing it out good. I use pin grease. It's made for reels. Works on about any reel. I occasionally, on some Japanese reels, I use Super Lube. If I take one apart and it's got clear synthetic lubricant in it, this is what I put back in. There you go. Drag seems to be working fine now. Okay. That's pretty much this back end of the reel. You got the spool. The spool goes on with those louvered looking pieces towards that pin right there, or that bait clicker, line out clicker. Let me get my nomenclature right. See how it works? And then you have a large snap ring that goes in there, and I do use my pliers to put Oh boy, almost sent that one into orbit, didn't I? Oh gosh. There we go. All right. Now the piece I repaired goes in, and it actually, yeah, it's right. I did it right. I was gonna say it could have gone in just a second ago, but it's better to put in now. No, I was wrong. Okay. Don't do what I did. Put that piece on first. I was thinking it could go on afterwards, but guess not. We'll put it on now. I have got grease all over me. I greased it good. Now, I had to go back and fix one of my reels the other day. I actually did the video wrong. So I'm going to show you the right way to do this. These little pieces, you would think the cup would go down towards the spring. Let me hold it up closer. That cup actually goes up towards this bridge. And so you'll put the bridge on there, and then you slide it over, and it locks the bridge in place. Pretty cool, huh? So we'll do the same thing over here. You got to kind of finagle it a little bit. Okay, and once you get that, you're good. That's everything on this side of the reel. Now we can put the spool on. And the snap ring. I hope we won't lose the snap ring this time. There we go. Now, what you need to do to put the rotor on is I always push this shaft out. Put a little bit of grease on there. I've already lubricated this. It should be good to go. Wouldn't hurt to add a little bit of lubricant in there. This can spin on. I like pushing that shaft, spool shaft out. And then when it pops back in place, oh, there we go, like that. It will reset the pin. That there, nice and smooth. All right, this is the reel. I've cleaned the body up really good. It turned out really nice. I'm gonna put a dab of grease right there where the handle push button contacts that bridge, whatever you want to call it. This is nice and clean. It did have one tiny crack in it. When you put this on, that hole, if it's on correctly, and I did not have it on correctly, the hole will go to the bottom. There's a hole in the cover to let water out of it. That needs to go to the bottom of the reel. So there's the reel. A couple blunders in there. Sorry about that. What a beautiful old reel. That will go on my shelf. Functioning fine. Drags smooth. There it is, folks. A nice old Zebco 888 made in USA. Please like the video if you enjoyed the blunders. Subscribe to my channel and come back and watch me blunder again, because I learned by trial and error. I've learned from being a field service tech that a lot of times you get out there in the field, you don't have manuals in front of you, so you just take it apart and try to remember your best how you took it apart and then put it back together. Never hurts to have a video, and that's kind of how this whole thing started. With my channel about 3 or 4 years ago, I took a bait runner apart, Shimano bait runner, the big one. It's like a 6,000 or 7,000 size. I can't remember. I still use the reel, and I took the cover off. And I thought, wow, that is a complicated reel. So what I ended up doing, I took my phone and I set it up and I videoed taking the reel apart so I could figure out how it went back together, because the schematics didn't tell me much of anything. And boy, that came in invaluable. And I thought I should start doing this to every reel I take apart. And then, you know, it takes me a little while. I'm not the quickest thinker in the world, but after a few of those, I thought, you know, I could do what Dennis is doing over at Second Chance Tackle, and over at a couple others I watch, Young Martins. The work he does, I thought, well, I can do this. I want to help other people. I don't make any money doing this. This is my own reels. I sell some of my reels, but what I do is I purchase reels in lots, and I'll fix the ones that I want to keep, put them on the shelf, and I'll fix the ones I think are worth selling and put them on my eBay store. And a lot of times I'll cull out, like if I get a really nice damn 220, the damn quick 220, and then I get another one in and it's nicer than that, well, I'll take the one that's not so nice and sell it and keep the nicer one. And that's how I do this. I'm not making money at it, trust me. I lose money on every reel I sell on eBay because I include shipping in my prices. So, you know, it is what it is. I might make $5-10 on a reel or something. I'm not in this to make money. I'm in this for the hobby. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see some more. This is John, Bench Fisherman. Talk to you later.